The show by Lauderdale, Jones, Scott, and Smith, Winston, Leak, you better act right. Don't drive slow and be wild at night, 'cause you need to know that if you do, that Scotty Ray is watching you. He's everywhere, he's everywhere. That man is faster than a scalded cat. If you do something dumb, then you better run with haste. Scotty Ray's at a wreck before it ever takes place.
And good morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray, and I know what you're thinking first off is, boy, Odie looks better today.
Hey, man. It's all in the way my hair is done.
Greg filling in this morning for Odie, who is out with his mom. He's having to do some things with her.
Keep them in your thoughts and prayers today. Jackson having a little issues.
Yes, but God bless it. That is one of those things that I don't even know where to go with it. As our parents get elderly, we have to do more for them, and I'm in that situation now as well, and it's tough.
That's something we all got to look forward to. And sooner or later, we're going to be the elderly ones. And
hush. As pieces of paper start shrinking and I can't see them in front of me, I realize that I ain't young no more.
No.
It's tough. Now, you've had a short night. You were out with volunteer fire departments last night as we had a fire in our area last night.
Yes, sir. I think probably 11 o'clock when it first got called
10:30ish,
out.
11?
Yeah, something like that. Very large home.
Let's just pull up some pictures and take a look.
Gilbert Joyner Road, fully involved. I'm going to tell you something, though. As I stood out there about 1 o'clock this morning, and people always talk about the bad things going on in this area and that area, I was so proud to be from Lauderdale County when you see, 28, 30 degrees and all those volunteers got out of their warm beds and come out to try to help these people. I mean,
Yeah.
People, we are blessed with some great volunteer fire departments. And the men and women, and there was about as many women out there as there was men this morning, and they were working. And it was a well-oiled machine. They were steadily filling up pumping water, filling up tankers. I mean, they worked hard, and my hat's off to them. I was very proud to be associated with them.
Greg, if I'm looking at these pictures correctly, even their vehicles burned with this, did they not?
Yes.
I
believe they lost 2 vehicles. They did fire department got there in time to save maybe a camper trailer and 2 or 3 other things, that were sitting around the house. And the people were at home. From what I gather, the people were at home when this started.
They were all safe. No one was injured. That's the good news out of this. Now, I've already gotten sizes, but I do not have a place to drop them off yet. So as soon as I get a place to where someone can drop off clothes to help them out, because it's going to be very tough over the next few days. It doesn't matter whether you've got insurance or you don't have anything.
No, they lost everything.
And that $100 you had tucked away in your sock is gone now. So think about this. This is a tragedy for our little community as people get up this morning.
And it can happen at any time to anyone. And I stress, especially, I'm not getting the cart out ahead of the horses, but we're going to talk about some cold weather coming.
We are. And
extremely cold. And people going to be cranking up them heaters, and what's the old song, putting another log on the fire.
Right.
Need to be extra careful.
Now, since we're on the subject of fire, let's just go ahead and move. We also had a fire last night in the city of Meridian. This would hit about, I got to work around 3 this morning. This was about 3:10 that this fire broke out. Let's go here to take a look at this, and we'll just show you this home totally destroyed, as well as the Meridian Fire Department shows up on scene to try to extinguish this one. Now, from what I'm understanding, this home was abandoned, but at the same time, we all know that there were most likely homeless in there.
Somebody
that caused
was
this.
in there.
You can say it however you want to, but that is a total loss as well. To my knowledge, no one was inside the home when it caught fire either. They managed to get out.
Now, what I've heard people say in the past, oh, well, it was just an abandoned house. Well, I want you to look at that picture of how many lives are affected right there.
Yeah.
And all these people have probably got wives or husbands and children and grandkids and all that. So, yeah, it was probably just an abandoned house. But how many people's lives are affected? And again, my hat's off to these firemen, whether they're paid or whether they're volunteers. Thank you for what you do.
Now, again, as soon as I get a place to work, because it's no good to have your stuff unless you have a place to take it to. So as soon as we get a church or a neighbor that in that neighborhood that we can have it to where it's easy to access to, maybe they're going to set up a checking account somewhere. I always like those better than a GoFundMe because it takes money directly away from the people on those GoFundMes. It's 15%, I think, that's taken away.
Right.
Anything that's donated. That's why I'm always more in favor of a checking account somewhere set up at a bank.
And if they've got money, they can go get what they need, what they want, instead of you assuming what they might need
Correct.
or want, you know?
Yeah, so that's what happened in the early morning hours of our little community here. And I would be probably wrong to say that this didn't happen somewhere else across the state of Mississippi last night.
Absolutely.
A lot of that goes on, but our hearts bleed for those who are hurting this morning from things like this. And you think about this. You go to bed at night. Your day is normal. You're getting up. You're going to go to work. And then all of a sudden you have nothing.
Yep. And they, from what I gather, they were at home when this happened. So, I mean, you couldn't have asked for a quicker response. The fire department was right there. You know, just horrible situation. And there will be more of this with this cold weather. I mean,
we're getting down to 18 degrees tomorrow night. The next night, on Thursday night, 19. And then we'll start to climb out of this Friday night somewhere around 27.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a big change, isn't it? And then I think by Saturday night we're 31, maybe 32-ish, but it's going to be a long week for coldness as we go across this. And again, right now, if for some reason you didn't test your heater last night, test that today. And if you're not familiar with how gas works, have a neighbor come over, call the gas company to come check it. You get lint, fuzz, dust in those gas logs won't work right.
Space heaters, extension cords, all that kind of stuff. Please, people, be careful. Be very careful.
And I know a space heater. I've even got one over here to my left that I keep that isolating. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's a big word. It moves around in a circle. But the old kind that used to set on the floor, some of the most dangerous kind.
That's right.
They flopped over. They didn't turn over.
Pets running around, feet tangled up in cords. One of the biggest ones we hear is curtains. People put it too close to the curtain. Or, I was going to dry that shirt. It's a heater. It's not a clothes dryer.
That's correct. And it will whoof in a heartbeat there. So those are a few things that happened overnight last night. It's chilly this morning as we're starting out today at 30. Coming up in just a moment, let me show you a picture here. This is the guy that's going to be in here with us. Look here, all the way from Jackson, Mississippi, the state treasurer. I sure hope he brought some saddlebags with him.
That's right.
We'll learn more.
Samples.
Samples, yeah. We'll find out all about this. And plus, I know a lot of people have gotten money back that they were entitled to thanks to him. We'll talk about all of that and what's going on in Jackson. We got that coming up next here at the Scotty Ray Report. When it comes to enhancing your outdoor experience, you need a companion that can keep up. The Kubota RTV 850 Sidekick at Parrish is your ultimate utility vehicle for every adventure. From the deer camp to trail riding or just working around on the farm, the Sidekick delivers powerful performance and versatility. These units start at $15,499 cash and have a $2,000 rebate. Financing is available as low as $285 a month.
We welcome you to a new vehicle buying experience here at Doc's Toyota. Buying a new vehicle doesn't have to be stressful, but don't just take our word for it.
This was the best experience I've ever had buying a vehicle.
Doc's employees are top-notch.
I drove 2 hours, not once, but twice, to purchase 2 vehicles with a 5-month time frame.
Doc's delivers competitive pricing, a comprehensive selection, and flexible financing options, helping you get on the road from Carthage, Meridian, and beyond. There's a reason why there's no deal like a Doc's deal.
The Precast Group, offering you the best selection when it comes to a storm shelter. Located on 145 South in Meridian, where they offer above-ground shelters that can be installed in your home as you're built in. are conveniently located right outside your home if it's already built. They also offer storm shelters that can be installed in a slight bank or on flat ground. Protect your family today with a very affordable storm shelter from the Precast Group. Highway 145 South, 601-482-0003. The Precast Group. And good morning. Welcome back. Scotty Ray and Greg. Greg filling in for Otis, who is out. He's not locked up by Andy, is he?
No, not yet, I don't think.
We do hope your morning is going well as we get this underway, and I hope you're having a great one there. As we mentioned, not often we get these folks from Jackson. He must have been lost. We're trying to help him out, get him some coffee and on his way. We welcome to the show this morning Treasurer David McRae. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. No, I'm not lost. I love Meridian. I love coming over from Jackson over here and seeing you all. It's been about a year since I've seen y'all, actually.
It has been.
I looked up last time I was here. It was sometime in January, late January, so almost a year and some change. And glad to be here, though.
You were working on getting money back to citizens at that point in time. How much over the last year have you returned to Mississippians?
So about a year ago, we were working on a new program, and we hadn't gotten it fully set yet because the legislature was giving us money, and they did. And we ended up having a new program, which I'll be talking about in a few minutes. But since last year, we gave back $20 million.
Whoa.
$20.5 million. Total, we've given back $125 million in the years I've been state treasurer. It is a record for any treasurer in the state of Mississippi to give back 125, and to do 20 in 1 year, it was just an amazing thing. I mean, you're changing people's lives. I mean, and a lot of people who call in, they're like, oh, I probably only have $100. But it turns out they'll have like 2,000. Some people have. Last year we had a huge claim. Someone had 800,000.
Wow.
There was a passed away vet who had, for his family, had $1.5 million that, he had died in testate, which means didn't have a will. And he had died, and he was in a pauper's grave. And
no one knew.
So he died in 2014, 2015, and he was in a pauper's grave out by Raymond. His family, we found money for him, and he had 3 heirs, and they didn't live in the state of Mississippi, so they didn't know, of course. But we found them and gave them their money back. I mean, it's theirs. I mean,
right.
And just like it's their heirs, and it's just like anybody else's in Mississippi who's listened to your show today, or later will go on the treasury.ms.gov site and go to the Unclaimed money section. It's your money. It's not the state's, and I want to give it back. I don't want it.
Am I not mistaken in that you found some money even for the city of Meridian? Aren't I right on that?
We did. We found $17,000 for the sheriff's department, for the police of Meridian, and always happy to give that back. It's amazing, what places have money. I mean, and it's not their fault that they didn't know it was there. And a lot of these entities we found get a little embarrassed. They're like, oh well, hey, how did my accountants? How did we, when we audited ourselves? How do we miss $17,000? But the thing is, you'll see it from like vending machines, deposits, and money just falls through the crack over time. We all know that. I mean, how many times you put on a winter coat that you haven't worn in 5 years and find $20? I mean,
yeah.
it happens.
But it's little Debbie cakes for everybody this
That's
morning.
exactly
17,
right.
Goes to little Debbie's.
Well, I mean, it's just amazing what you find. And, when I started this job about 6 years ago, really about 5 years ago, elected 6, and I went to my Unclaimed money department and said, this is the goal. We want to give money back to the people of Mississippi. And, you hope that your staff agrees with that, and they did. I mean, we have a very small staff, but they took the mission beyond what I ever thought was possible. I mean, I wanted to give back as much money as possible, and like I said, we gave back 20 last year, which is a record for us. Every year we keep giving back more. And so it's really a huge thing because the state of Mississippi, where everything costs more today in the country and the state. I saw eggs are going to go up to 20% more this year. Eggs are already 22% up from last year. Meat, poultry, pork, everything costs more. So to have a little bit more money in your pocket, and it doesn't cost the state anything. We're not taxing you. We're not taking money, of any of that sort. It's your money and giving it back to you. We're very proud to do that. It's one of the best parts of the job.
So how does the average person that's watching now, they go, well, how do I know if I've got any? Where do you go to figure this out? Do they call your office? Do they go online? How do you go about searching?
The easiest way to go is to treasury.ms.gov. go to the unclaimed money section, type in your name, business, deceased relatives, things of that nature, and if there's money there, you can fill out the form online. And that's one thing we did, because
you'd click right there under search now for unclaimed money.
Yep, that's it. And that's one thing we did. We put it all online, and when you go and click your name, you click "That's me," fill out a couple little questions, and send it in, and we're going to get it back to you as quick as possible. And if you fill it out online, you don't need a notary. It counts as a notary. You can still do paper, but you're going to need a notary. But simple claims like deposits and things like that, like energy deposits, cable deposits, gas deposits, things like that, we can get those back without any issue. If it's a wills and estates, a bank account that's gone, dead, and you found out you had one, or anything more complicated, we're going to give you a call.
Oop, I got $100.
Well, there you go.
Right there.
Do you?
Yeah, that's when I lived across town. Well, I'm a dog.
I say we
over $100.
Well, let's go through the process.
Yeah, there we go.
See, it's that simple. You never know when you'll have something.
It's so simple. I always say my father can do it, which he's not the most tech savvy person. So if he can do it, anyone listening can do it.
Does it tell you if you owe any money?
No, that's
Don't punch my name in there.
That is a whole different department. Not that I'm the giving money back department.
You're the good guy.
I'm the good guy. I'm not the other. I'm not the collection service people. But and that. So we wanted to make it easy for people, and that is the way we've made it easy for people. To go online, find out, and like I said, if it's complicated, we'll give you a call. But we actively search out people every single day. To find their that we found their money and want to give it back. But one thing last year I was working on, and we've gotten it fully up and running, is our what I call automatic check giving back.
Okay.
So right now we're in the process of multiple phases, but right now we're in a phase where if you have a state issued check, income tax, refund, you work for the state and lost your paycheck, or the state owes you money in some form or fashion, we're just going to send you a check. Because
simplify it.
We simplify it. We know you have unclaimed money, and we have your address. We know it's you because our background search and vetting process is amazing. But we will automatically send you a check. It will be in the mail with a letter from me, state issue check. You don't even have to call. It's done.
Now, how long before that will go into effect?
It's in effect right now.
Well, we've done about 10,000. Before Christmas. So we sent out about 10,000 of those before Christmas, and as David said, those were, state issued checks. And if you don't claim it, it does eventually go back into the general fund, and it becomes unclaimable. So, but it's not limited to that. We're going to do other checks too. If we go through the system and find that, the address is the same, the social is the same, and everything, we'll try to send out checks automatically if everything matches up for the, the claims that are fairly clearly, there's not an ID issue there.
We're going to call you Santa Claus.
That's exactly right.
Well, we're Santa Claus without being in December. So, that's what another way we've just tried to innovate state government. The way we've tried to innovate the Treasury and get away from the bureaucracy of this all. And again, we want to make this easy on the people of Mississippi that have money. It's their money. Why should we make this complicated for them? And so this is something we've done. And as we expand this program out over the year, and years to come, it will include different kinds of checks, just not state-issued checks, but easy, simple claims, like, again, the deposit, so we can handle the big claims and the more complicated ones.
All right, we got more coming up. We'll find out how you can get some of this, and I think David's going to be speaking somewhere today. You might want to come out and meet him. We'll find all that out. Plus, we had someone shot last night, Greg.
No.
No, I know you're thinking it couldn't happen here.
Couldn't happen.
We'll be back with more details coming up. The tractors are rolling at Freeman Tractor on Highway 494. Drop in and see Keith, Cornbread, or Buttermilk. They've got a tractor that fits the need that you have. Whether it's a 26 horsepower, a 40, or bigger. Plus, they offer 0% financing for up to 96 months. Whether it's a part, a new tractor, 0% financing, or just simply a laugh. 601-626-8759, Highway 494 in Collinsville. That's Freeman Tractor. Rockhouse Gun and Pound, located at 5430 Highway 19 North, is ready for spring. From weed eaters to push and riding lawnmowers, and one of the largest selections you'll find in chainsaws, along with power tools and generators for backup power. Maybe you're in the market for a TV or maybe a guitar. And not to mention a large selection of diamond rings and Louis Vuitton purses. The Rock House Gun and Pawn even has a private lobby for your pawns for confidentiality. Visit them today, Highway 19 North, Rock House Gun and Pawn. Welcome back. I'm your friend Scotty Ray, along with Odie as we... Oops, Greg.
No, don't cut.
Got to straighten that out.
Yeah.
Well, I like them Carhartt shirts you get. I got to get me some of those. Those are comfortable, aren't they?
Warm.
Carhartt, some of the best that is ever made. I like good clothing that lasts and lasts and lasts too. As I mentioned, overnight, as you slept, we had gunfire ring out in the area. This would ring out in the 4100 block of 19th Street. And this time, a female was struck in the leg. Flop. She was rushed to a local hospital. It's not life-threatening, but still the same. We had gunfire and a lady was struck with gunfire. We don't know the circumstances that led up to this in any shape, form, or way. Now, we're still awaiting information on the death that occurred this weekend during the tornadoes.
That was Saturday night.
Saturday night. As the tornado warnings were starting to sound off, we got word that somebody had died in Meridian from a gunshot. And I mean, when I tell you multiple gunshot wounds. Again, we have not received a statement from the Meridian Police Department regarding that yet. We're waiting on that.
Wasn't that off of 30th?
Sure was. 28th Avenue is where it was. And again, that's one of those things to where tornadoes were a little bit more, we had more people to
everything
protect.
Everything was happening at once, it seemed like.
It was. I know y'all were tied up watching the streets and roads.
Had transformers on fire, trees down, multiple things happening.
Well, some of the hardest hit areas would be Collinsville, and then that just moved northeasterly across the county and affected the Delwood area, that Cuba Road area there into Alabama.
But it was scattered because we had trees down on Valley Road. We had some trees down, you know, it seemed like every direction you had some type of damage. I had a guy call me yesterday from C.A. Pickard Road. Appears to have had some rotation in his behind his house. So it was from one end of the county to the other.
And here's what we have the release from the National Weather Service is this tractor across Newton County. As I said, it went right across Collinsville and headed toward Okeechobee. And this had 95-mile-an-hour winds with this.
That's huffing and puffing, ain't it?
The length of it was 17 miles as the crow flies across there, and this is what caused all of this damage. So when we go live with these, I always follow these where the center of these thunderstorms are. When we start talking about areas to get to your safe space, do so.
Yes.
Because
I mean, you got limited time. You don't have time to finish what you're doing. When he tells you get to you need to get there, people, because it's coming.
Now, and another thing that we often talk about, and you don't really realize, is the tires on your car. I know we all put that off of having ball tires, and you go, well, I'm gonna buy some. I can get a little bit more out of there. Well, let me show you why you shouldn't do that. Here's a prime example of that. A blowout. Now, I'm not sure that it was a ball tire that caused it, but it could lead to that. But a tire blew out on this vehicle and caused it to roll over and roll over and roll over as you look at this. Look at that.
Oh, man.
And total loss. I think they were injured, but hopefully not life-threatening with that. But keep them as new as you can on there. I know it's sometimes hard to fit in your budget, but your life and your family, you got to take care of them with that.
Look at the date on them too.
And how do you do that?
There is a number on the sidewall, and there you can read the date that tire was manufactured.
Okay.
And I have, back when I bought and sold, played with used cars, I mean, it could be a brand new looking tire, but be 12, 15 years old.
And that can lead to
damage.
Yeah. Blowout, especially as we'll transition from the cold months to the hot months. That really makes them go.
When that asphalt gets hot, the tires will pop.
Now, one of the next things that we've been following over the last few days is what's been going on in Kemper County. I've had several communications with the family members of a missing North Carolina man. As we found out in the Kemper County Sheriff's Department, I went up, spoke with them as they were looking for this man. His truck was found in the woods, roughly 3/4 of a mile off the highway. on a hunting lease. Was nowhere around, and then word came, well, maybe we spotted him back in North Carolina. Well, that they did not.
Right.
That was false information, I guess is the way to word it. Somebody thought it was. We did get confirmation from the Kemper County Sheriff's Department last night. Here's the statement with this, that he was found a few hundred yards from where the truck was found. Possibly, it has not been confirmed. This could be some type of self-inflicted wound. We're waiting for the autopsy to discover all of this. But it never added up with the truck being stolen and the items that were left on the seat, that if somebody had taken it, they would have left with that.
You usually don't leave cash and firearms or
No.
whatever. But if we made a connection, did he have any connection to Kemper County?
I don't know that. And as I dug back, and sometimes I'll get, and my cell phone is one of those things when I'm out and about, I sometimes can get 22 texts at once.
No.
And I
Usually when we're trying to eat.
and I'll overlook something. And I had a message from the family 2 months ago, and I did not see it, that they had sent, have you seen this man in your area? And
2 months ago?
2 months ago, before the Kemper County Sheriff's ever went into this, and I accidentally overlooked it. So does that lead me to believe that they thought he would pass through here? It's something. It has to be some type of connection, some way, somehow, for them to have originally sent that to me. And if they're watching, we certainly...
So he'd been gone that long, or he had disappeared again?
January 15th, I think, is roughly when it was. It was a month and a half ago that I missed. January 15th, I think, was when he was officially reported missing.
I just didn't know if he was missing and found and then missing again, but no, okay.
But our hearts go out to the family members of this. This is a very tragic situation as this unraveled, and it was confirmed yesterday. And Mississippi Department of Game really worked hard on this with the Sheriff's Department, and they brought in cadaver dogs with this and were able to locate him. My, oh, my, oh, my. So that is some of the things that went on yesterday. We had a huge fender bender. Decatur, y'all up this morning? What y'all doing up there? Look at this. Right up there, right in the middle of the road with a bass boat. Man alive.
Little Irish for that boat today, I think.
It's not the day to go fishing.
No.
That's for sure. David, have you had time to think about where you're going here in just a little bit after I sprung that on you?
Yeah, we're going to go to the community college, and we're going to tour around. One of the other parts of my job is college and career savings, our 529 program.
Oh.
And that helps young men and women save for college, helps adult parents save for their kids for college, and with prepaid tuition or a kind of checking account sort of plan. And those have been extremely successful here in Mississippi. And one big thing we're starting to see is that a lot of young men and women are going to their local community college and get vocational training or tech training or any type of training to go start a new job. I mean, those jobs that these community colleges are doing, I'm going to tour a diesel mechanic school today, and those are $80,000 paying jobs just after 2 years of education. Whereas you can go to, a 4-year, I'm not discouraging anybody to go to a 4-year school, but, they go to a 4-year school, they're not making $80,000 upon graduation. I mean, I'm a lawyer by trade and whatnot. The best job I could get out of law school was about $60,000. So, after all that.
It's even tough with that education, is what you're saying.
It's very tough. But you have these vocational training jobs like diesel mechanics, welding, electrician, all sorts of things, the traditional things, and they're getting paid $80,000 to $100,000. They're getting jobs right after they're done. We've visited Copiah Lincoln Community College, Colin, and we visited their diesel mechanic school. All 9 of the kids had a job, and they all paid $80,000 to $100,000.
And what you got to remember, and folks think back on this, I remember Mike Rowe talking about this. He goes, when I done dirty jobs, he goes, almost every person that I visited was a millionaire. He goes, it was a dirty job, but they made really good money at it. So you can't let that stigma of, I think for so many years, a lot of people put a shadow over that of getting a trade.
Well, You're exactly correct. And that's something I've been working on since I've been treasurer, is to get rid of that kind of like, well, you go to community college, you couldn't cut it at a 4-year school. And that's not true at all.
That's true.
That just means the people who are going to 2-year school either A, are getting a, don't have a full scholarship or means to go to a 4-year program. And so, they're taking their freshman and sophomore year classes before they go and pay. And
my son, for example, he went to MCC. Then he went from there to Mississippi State, and then he graduated with a PhD in the end. It was a great place to start, and he was able to get more scholarships while he was there to be able to afford the 4-year degree.
Well, and I had a bright young woman who worked for me, really good with numbers and everything, and she didn't get a full ride to state, and then went to the community college where she was from down in Jones, and she just took her 2-year classes that she would have taken at state, right, and would have had to pay a 4-year tuition, of course. Right. She took her 2-year classes at Jones, and then got a full ride scholarship to state right after that. So there you go. I mean, that saved a lot of money. But also on the other side, there was a really fascinating Wall Street Journal article in June or July of last year that says Gen Z, the new generation of kids, they are not going to 4-year schools. They're seeing that a trade is so far more valuable. They're going out and starting businesses. They're going out and doing things and making that money. And then they may go to a 4-year school after that. But the bottom line is, in Jackson, we don't have very many electrician companies yet. So they're in high demand, making good money. I mean,
call a plumber.
Good luck. Yeah. Good luck. But, these things, and what you're kind of going back to what you said earlier, the stigma when I was in high school was, like I said, you couldn't cut it at a 4-year school. That stigma could be it's just not true at all. I mean, these young men and women they're bright, they're intelligent, they're entrepreneurial. They know what they in some ways they're a little smarter because they see a need in the community for something, whether it's welding, plumbing.
When's the last time your air conditioner went out? I don't know. They teach this out at MCC as air conditioning, and whoo, you even attended that, didn't you?
I did. I went to MCC for 2 years in air conditioning refrigeration. But I mean, I believe that their needs, you provide a need, a service for somebody, something that they either A, can't do, or B, won't do. Mm-hmm. The money, there's not everybody is going to be a doctor and a lawyer. I mean, you got to have ditch diggers too. And I'm sorry, nowadays the ditch diggers making as much as some of these people with a 4-year degree.
And it's very fascinating you bring up lawyer and doctor. They're not hiring as many lawyers anymore in the world. They're cutting back on lawyers in the world. So when you're in a law school class of 120, 130, it's going to be pretty tough for you. But if you go and learn a good trade, well, there is a need for that. And besides the traditional trades, what I've been talking about with y'all are having the new server farm coming up, that's going to start being built. They're going to need HVAC people. They're going to need welders. They're going to need all that good stuff. In Ridgeland, where I live, you're going to have Amazon, AWS coming up. You have up in Marshall County the EV plant coming. So you're now seeing not just the traditional trades being needed, but cybersecurity trade. You're seeing server maintenance trade. You're seeing electric vehicle, what they need, the trade for that. So if I think the blue collar traditional jobs was kind of holding people back from going to a trade school. Now that doesn't exist anymore.
The sky's the limit. I mean, it's there. And I used to go 4 or 5 times a year to career days for little kids and stuff when I was Smokey the Bear and doing that kind of stuff. And I would always try to tell them, I know very few people that get up every day and cut a cartwheel going, I can't wait to get to work. Yeah. But with that being said, try to find something you enjoy doing. You spend way too many hours a day at your job to be miserable. And we all know those people that, every time you walk, you run into them, within 2 minutes they're fussing about their job. They hate it. They're miserable. Life is too short to be miserable at doing your job. Find something, and again, I'm not saying it's all going to be milk and honey, but find something you enjoy doing, and don't let that I can't do it without a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree. Find something you enjoy doing.
Exactly. And, the IT people in my office, they don't have college degrees. They all have 2-year vocational training and IT specialists. Yeah. I mean, you don't need to have, if that's the field you want to be in. I mean, with everybody that, all the younger generation nowadays, that loves the tech. that's something that is the new frontier of this area of the world. And to circle it back around to kind of what we do, we have our college and career savings can help you go to a vocational training school, a community college. We can pay for that and pay for things of that. So by putting money in a prepaid program or a checking account sort of program, you will go and not have any debt upon graduation. The average individual graduates with $32,000 to $35,000 worth of debt. And we can help you. And if you start saving today, we can make sure that doesn't happen.
All right. So much more to come up this morning as we travel along and learn. I did get a message. Let me go back up. Multiple trees still down on Russell-Tompton Road on the Tompton end. One lane of travel. So y'all be extra slow through there. And I'm sure Cuba Road up by Lauderdale, Mississippi is not complete yet. And as we see anywhere from Collinsville due east to Dalewood community, be careful there.
Some of these roads are passable, but they're not wide open. Does that make sense? I mean, I got on some roads last night going to Gilbert Joyner, and they've cut the trees out of the road, but they might be a lane and a half and 2 lanes. So if you were meeting somebody got to stop.
And Karen brought up a good trade there, beauticians. Boy, they teach a lot at community colleges of doing hair. And that's something that's always going to exist because everybody's got to have a haircut.
Well,
okay. I made a mistake.
Truck driving. A lot of your community colleges is doing a truck driver training. I mean, that's something that you're going to always need.
We'll be right back. More coming up at the Scotty Ray Report.
At the Back Porch, we're bringing families back together for fun, food, and all the things you love to enjoy around your home. Every event starts with a great grill, great cookware, and accessories. Add in some locally sourced meat and dairy, along with frozen vegetables and casseroles, and over 500 brands of spices and sauces. Relax in our chairs, swings, day beds, and have fun with our cornhole boards. From coolers to trailers, we have everything you need. When you see the big chair, you've made it to the Back Porch.
At Pettit Jewelers in Philadelphia, Mississippi, trust Nicole with your priceless heirloom jewelry. With generations of refined expertise, she ensures your cherished pieces are meticulously cared for. Pettit Jewelers, Philadelphia.
Our local headlines are brought to you by the Rock House Gun and Pawn.
Welcome back. I'm your friend Scotty Ray, and Greg's always the best at this game. I still remember this guy. He was such a con artist. The little fellow there that conned all his friends into paying him to do a job that he didn't want to do. Remember that painting the fence?
Oh, yeah.
They all had to trade him something?
Tom Sawyer?
Yeah. Huckleberry Finn, y'all remember? Mark Twain? Boy, what a book that became. Mark Twain was one of the greatest there that talked about life upon the Mississippi.
He had some pretty good sayings, too.
Yeah, he did. And Clement, what was his real name? I knew that till I said it. It'll come into me.
Daniel Clemens.
What was that?
I think it's Daniel Clemens.
Daniel Clemens. Clemens, I know is the last name for sure. I went blank. I don't know how that happened to me there. The Adventures of Mark Twain, and of course that comes from Twain being on the Mississippi River there. One of the notorious outlaws that ever lived in the U.S. of A. would pass away today. He lived to be a right old age to be this old, to be an outlaw anyway. Frank James dies at 72 on today, back in 1915. Really wasn't all that long ago. Okay, yeah, you're right. It's over 100 years. Yeah. Okay, I'll hush. Anybody remember watching City Slickers?
Yeah.
That wasn't bad. Where the guys went out and thought they were real cowboys. Remember this guy? Jack Palance? He was born today in 1919. He was the cowboy that taught them everything. I'm not so sure Billy Crystal learned anything, but yeah, he was there.
That was funny, though.
It was. I did enjoy it. Kind of like Wild Hogs. I enjoyed that one, too. We go back to one of the best movies there ever was Cool Hand Luke. It taught you a lot there. And the main thing I watched and learned about that was the car washing scene. It's an art to washing a car.
That's right.
Do you remember a guy named George Kennedy? He was in a lot of comedies. You remember him right here with Naked Gun? He was in that also. He was also in Thunderbolt and Lightfoot.
Didn't he have the dust buster behind the plate on Naked?
He did.
Yeah, okay.
You just can't beat it. But he was in that scene of Cool Hand Luke there, What an iconic movie that was as we go back to remember that. I remember this girl mostly from being with Bruce Willis. I don't remember. She's probably in something else, but y'all remember Moonlighting? You remember that show with Bruce Willis?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Sybil Shepherd.
Yeah.
Was she too bossy for you?
Yeah.
I had a feeling you didn't like her because of that. She was kind of pushy, wasn't she? There she is. Here's a different picture of her there. She looks a little... Okay, maybe she doesn't. Okay, we'll just leave that alone.
Fast forward.
This woman never had, as we talked about beauticians there, she really needed a beautician because somebody told her this looks good and it didn't.
She'd have to slip up on the dipper to get a drink of water right there.
Playing with the Queen of Hearts. Y'all remember that?
Very good song.
Yeah. Juice Newton had a birthday today, born in 52, but that hair, I never saw her that it didn't look like the mane of a horse. Just all needed combing. I'm telling you, a date had to be hard for her. Sometimes we're just brutally honest.
Well, you hit the charts a couple of times. It's amazing how much better you look to people.
Just ask Jelly Roll. 1954, this guy would be born. He went from small to medium to large to large to large to an iconic actor. He's been in, I can't even count the most famous movies that he's been. But he started out as Vinnie Barbarino. Anybody remember him as John Travolta? Yeah, I'm taking it.
Didn't disco make him really famous?
Saturday Night Fever. Urban Cowboy would come along, and you would think, how in the world do you beat Urban Cowboy? And then was Face Off would come, and then Grease would come, and it just kept going and going of the movies that had John Travolta. Pulp Fiction.
No.
You didn't watch that?
No. I liked Urban Cowboy,
but did you ever watch Pulp Fiction?
I tried.
Tried?
No.
It did have some funny scenes.
No.
I'll tell you about them in a little bit. I think you missed them. The woman who does nothing on TV has a birthday today. And yes, the rumors of her being, what was that Jay Giles song? Angel is a Centerfold. Oh. She did do that.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
Oh, yeah. And what's that girl from the Waltons done that too? Shame on her. Vanna White was born today in 1957. Not that I've seen any of that, no. But I heard rumors.
Which one of the Waltons?
Oh, the oldest girl.
Mary Ellen.
Yeah, Mary Ellen does.
Oh,
you didn't know that?
You've crushed me. I can't believe it.
She did. She said that.
The image.
I read an article on it, and she said that she had a, what do you call the person that guides you in your movie stardom, that is your manager?
Yeah.
Told her that would put her at the next level, and she admitted that it stunned her and hurt her more than it did. And it did. She had a wholesome image, and then all of a sudden...
She threw that out the window.
She sure did. Angel is a centerfold. And it just didn't go over well.
Could have been worse. Could have been Cora Beth.
Oh. You had to go there, didn't you? Yeah, boy, that was tough. 1959. Tell me what I'd say.
Oh, I love it.
Boy, he played the piano better than anybody I know of.
Man, yeah.
And truthfully, and if you go back and watch or listen, let me back that up, and listen to Paul Harvey talk about this, how this could happen, I wouldn't know. But he had a twin brother.
Really?
They were both taking a bath in the wash tub outside. His younger brother drowns, and he never had sight from that moment on. Did you know that?
So you saying he could see?
Correct.
Both of them could see. One drowns and the other one goes blind.
That's correct.
For real? I didn't know that.
Ray Charles.
Now I love
what I'd say.
Oh yeah, I like Ray Charles.
But you know, and Ray was one of the first there that could feel money. And this would probably fit in. David, can you feel money and know what it is? Close your eyes.
Sometimes. If my wife's Amazon packages don't come.
Thurston Howell was very good at it too. He could also feel money and know what it was, or just sniff it and know what it was, or Mr. Drysdale.
Now my wife can squeeze it.
Stop you from going there.
Yeah.
Let's see this girl. Let's see. She was in Different Strokes, Facts of Life, and then 16 Candles is what I knew this face from. Her name was Molly Ringwald. Do y'all remember her?
Yeah.
Yeah. That 16 Candles was not my favorite.
Nah.
But it was a big hit. I do know.
Hello.
This was. As we get into, if you make fun of a lady that has bad hair, then you've got to cover the men folks that just have horrible hair. And well, he was how do you word this? I was thinking of a Gregism here, waiting for it there. Don't Cheat in Our Hometown was his number one hit today in 1984, but let me tell you about Bad Feathered Hair. He had it. Ricky Skaggs.
I met him on the sidewalk.
Where at?
At the Waffle House on Roebuck Drive in about 1985. I think he'd done a show at maybe the Temple.
Yeah, he was here several times.
I love his music. Of course,
Ricky
I love bluegrass. I love old country music. I like me some Ricky Skaggs.
Ricky did it, Uncle Pen, if you remember that. That was a big hit. But those first songs there, Don't Cheat in Our Hometown, Tonight My Heart is Hurting. Boy, it's good stuff. Hard to beat it there. This was when he was actually country, 1989, when he busted on the scene. He had one album that was good. A couple other hits later on, then he would marry Hollywood and kind of forget where he come from. He'd lose his cowboy hat, and we didn't know who he was after that. But during this date and time, better man, Clint Black.
Yeah.
Little Roy Rogers sitting up there.
Oh, yeah.
Don't deny it. You know he's kin somewhere. It's in the bloodline.
I liked his music.
Dan Seals, I Want to Bop With You, Baby. Everything That Glitters Is Not Gold. You remember those? This was one of the ones that come right before that. It was 1989 when this went number one. Y'all remember this? Big Wheels in the Moonlight?
No.
Really?
No.
I really thought, man, that was a good song.
That don't ring
We're gonna put him in training in a little bit.
Hell,
Is it just
I like him too, buddy.
Oh man! And I didn't realize he was so young when he died.
Right.
He lived a rough life.
I seen him at the Temple Theater.
He
he was a steel guitar player for oh man, wait just a second. It could have been George Jones. He was a pedal steel player before he ever hit the charts, or very talented.
And then of course his band would call you at some point. Confederate Railroad was his backup singers.
Right.
They handled all that. This guy would go to jail for a little incident in Colorado. He lived what he did. He was tough, and would die absolutely broke.
Yeah, I think George Jones had to donate a burial plot.
He did.
If I remember right.
Paid for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Johnny Paycheck, take this job and shove it.
That's the song that made him.
It was. Yeah. And as we all watched Bigfoot go through that time clock there, man, that was good stuff back in the day. Old Violin, if you'll remember listening to that.
I love Paycheck.
Do you know that song?
Yep.
And for those who don't, it's a guy that goes to a town. He does a big show that night. Next morning, he decides to go to church. And he goes to walk in the church, and they go, whoa, wait a minute, buddy. You can't come in here. You got all that long hair, all them tattoos on you. Back up now. Sit down out there. And he goes, wait a minute, Lord, I saw half of these folks at my concert last night.
Sitting on the front row, drinking beer and hollering, sang Shove It.
Sure did. It was some of the, really told it how it was.
Oh, no.
Oh, we would lose a great legend today. There's a lot of people that are going to take their hats off when we even say this guy's name. It's still ranked as one of the best it was. We would lose Dale Earnhardt today back in 01.
It's hard to believe it's been that long.
24 years ago.
Seems like yesterday.
Can you believe that? Oh, boy. That's a little trip and walk back in history of a few things that happened on this date. My, oh, my, oh, my. We'll be right back. We got some questions that y'all asked David. We're going to find out from the Treasury Department of Mississippi next. Ask him. If you got another question, go ahead and throw those up. We'll answer some of those next here at the Scotty Ray Report.
Collinsville, Mr. Discount Drugs, your local pharmacy and gift shop, thanks you for your continued support. Whether you shop with us in-store, through our app, over the phone, or in our drive-thru, our team will provide the best personalized customer service experience you expect from your local pharmacy. When you call or message us, you are promptly greeted by the Mr. Discount team that's ready to help. When you choose our pharmacy, you're choosing a locally owned pharmacy that cares about you and your community. Collinsville, Mr. Discount Drugs, makes a difference.
H&H Residential of Meridian is your #1 carpet and flooring store. If you've been thinking of a new look for your home or office, call for a free estimate or consultation. H&H can install, or you can do it yourself. H&H has all of your design needs from color, style, and texture. If you can dream it, H&H can make it a reality. Come see the large selection of hardwood flooring, laminate, vinyl, and even carpet. H&H Residential of Meridian, open Monday through Friday, 9 to 4, 321 Hawkins Crossing Road. Call Rosemary anytime, 601-462-9541.
Welcome back. As we were sitting here talking about Dale, boy, it just really doesn't seem it. And I've got in my old studio before we built the other one, I've got that plate that went in the Coca-Cola machine, the Dale from back in the day. What a man. People loved him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then Joe Diffie would show up and sing at the funeral. Run off with his wife. Had you forgotten that? Ships that don't come in. That ship did. It caused a lot of controversy. Sometimes you just got to remember. As we go back, we're coming up on 8 o'clock this morning. And, of course, we've had the state treasurer here, David McRae. David, we've had several questions to you about money. And let's get into that. What have you been being asked over there?
Well, I've noticed kind of off the air looking at some. One of the main questions I've seen over there is, how long does this money stay with the Treasury? How long do I have till I have to claim it? And if it is a tax or, state check, it will be there forever. A state check is roughly there 4 to 5 years, and then it goes back into the general fund, and there's nothing I can do about that. It's earmarked and goes straight over there. But if it's anything else, so if you have one of those and we haven't automatically sent it to you like I was talking about earlier, go and claim that quick now. And but if it's the other ones, it'll be there forever.
If it's an insurance policy or refund from a retail or whatever, it stays there forever. I mean, it'll be there 40 years from now.
Yeah. So, and then the other big question I see in there is, can they claim an inheritance, of a deceased relative? And the answer is yes. Those are a little bit more complicated. So, I'd advise strongly calling up to the office, and we can take care of that. But, if that's one of your claims, and another one I always get on the road when I'm making speeches is, well, how do I claim that? How do I prove that it's my relative if I don't have a will or something of that nature? A will, it's easy. You can just tell it's you and it goes to you, and that's simple. At least to me, I think it's simple. But if you don't have the will, and you got to prove that it's them, that you don't have the death, you need a death certificate. If you don't have a death certificate, we've taken. You can go to a website called Find My Grave, and you can go find where the deceased relative is. Unless obituaries work, unless they've moved from the grave site, which then we got a whole nother problem. But they're there, so that works just as well. And so those, again, and I'm hearing a lot where to go to treasury.ms.gov and go throughout the website. We have a lot of great information about the investments of what the state's doing, college savings. But if you're particularly looking for unclaimed money, just go to the unclaimed money section and it'll just guide you from there. It's pretty simple.
Now, that's good to know. I talked to a lady a couple years back that her mother had passed away. Had no idea that her mother had a savings account somewhere, and he'd been sitting there like 18 years. Drew interest, and it become a large sum of money over time, and it was given back to her.
Yep. So, if you have a stock that's split, we'll give that back. Those are a little bit more complicated, and Lee can explain that in a minute. But, we will pay back. Mississippi's unique. We will pay the money plus the interest. So wow, and it's not taxed. So
yeah, that's another thing. People think, well, I've got some money there. I may have several $1,000s there, and they won't claim it because they think I'm going to be taxed on it. But we don't send out 1099s. The presumption is that money's already been taxed. So we're not going to, help you get taxed on that money. We're just going to give it back. That's all the interest we have in it. That's.
We want to get it back. I can't stress that enough. We want to get it back because, in the end of the day, that money goes back into the community. That goes back into Main Street, goes back here to Meridian, Lauderdale County, wherever else you're listening, and that helps local businesses, especially in this time of need. Again, going back to the grocery store analogy. Things cost more, so hey. It's just amazing what, how much people have that's just sitting there waiting to be claimed. And we just.
I would say in Lauderdale County, this is because I track these numbers all the time, but Lauderdale County has probably somewhere in the neighborhood of, I'd say $6 to $10 million that's claimable, from attributable to residents here at any given time. That's just based on population, whatever. Harrison Hines usually has the most, around $30 million is claimable. You can just kind of track it by how big the county is. And people say, well, how does this money get there? We go to events all the time, and I don't have any money. And you look in, and there they are. Well, how in the world did that happen?
It just happens. I mean, money gets lost.
Yeah, well, and the bank, you'll get letters from the bank if you haven't had activity on a 401k or something. And if you don't respond to them, they will send it to the state. I mean, and it depends on the bank, obviously. But we had one lady in Decatur, it was a couple of years ago, $100,000 CD I saw sitting on the list, and I called her up and I said, "Do you realize your $100,000 CD is sitting over here at the state treasury at unclaimed money?" She said, "I had no idea," but it was, had been sent to the state. It had no activity on the account. And I imagine somebody, algorithm somewhere, wherever that bank was located, was out of state, headquartered, probably just said, "Okay, that's abandoned. Let's send it to the."
Right.
And on another story, I have tons of these stories, but another story, there was a family's foundation, and everybody, the last member of the foundation of the family had died, and so they had where the money was supposed to go, and there was still money left over, about $250,000. That was, I don't think they'll mind me saying where it was supposed to go. They're very proud of it, but it was supposed to go to School for the Deaf and the Blind. And I believe it was supposed to go back in 2017. She died, and I knew the family, and it was supposed to go to the School for the Deaf and the Blind upon death of her and the closing out the estate. Well, the bank put the foundation put the wrong address on it. And it just went back to the bank, and the bank held it for a number of years until this was about 2 years ago. You found it, and we gave it back to the School for the Deaf and the Blind. So it's just simple things like that, just a misdo of the address.
Y'all will find this interesting, Scotty Ray. The biggest piece of unclaimed property we have in the system, unclaimed money, we changed it from property to unclaimed money because we don't deal in tangibles. Right. That's just the way it was set up statutorily. So we say unclaimed money. But the biggest piece of unclaimed money is attributable to a lady who lived here in Meridian for years. She died probably 20 years ago. She died with no children, no apparent family. This was an insurance policy. And I did some research on her family and tracked her family down to when they first moved here back in the teens. They actually had a drugstore downtown called Caver's Drugs. Right. And it shows up on all those pictures. If you get on Facebook and you see the local history and stuff like that, you can see the drugstore in some of those turn-of-the-century pictures I found at one time. But anyway, we did track some of her heirs down, very, very, very distant relatives, and they were pretty old, and they never did claim it. But it was that money will stay there forever until somebody.
Now, is that money drawing interest?
Well, if it's an interest-bearing account, yes. I mean,
I'm just saying when money is turned over.
Right.
To
I mean, the state earns interest.
Keep it in
that's right. The state earns interest on it, but we also, when we pay it out, we'll pay a certain amount of interest back to the claimant. Now, that is prescribed in the statute as like 1/12 of 1%. It's something, but it's there. Yeah.
And we had one of the questions over here that asked if it's in another state, how do you go about it? Where do you go to look? And you may not know the exact answer to that.
Well, there's you can always go to the state, but the National Association of State Treasurers, NAST, has made it real simple. You can go to NAST website, NAST, and they have now, and I've worked with them to form a national database that will allow you to just search, and they'll pull up every state's unclaimed money that does unclaimed money. Not all treasurers do unclaimed money. Every treasurer is a little different, but NAS has worked for several number of years to make it easy. If you know what state it's in, like Florida, you can go to I think they have a whole Treasury Gold Coast type unclaimed money thing, and their money will actually go away after 10 years. And I saw one other question, and my mom would be mad at my manners here, but to my right, as I'm sitting here, is my director of unclaimed money, Lee Youngblood. So my mom would have slapped my hand by now for not introducing my guest to the right.
I'm just here to add color. That's all I'm trying to do. The national website, by the way, is missingmoney.com.
Missingmoney.com.
Very simple. Very simple.
That is pretty good. We did get a report just a moment ago of an accident on West Lauderdale Road in the 9800 block of West Lauderdale Road. There is an accident this morning. No injuries from what we understand. That's good, but still an accident. Probably will slow traffic down with this. Probably somebody headed to school in that area. So that's what we've got at this moment. We'll be right back with more Scotty Ray Report.
Advanced Auto Glass by Joey can handle all your windshield repair and replacement needs. Service work is guaranteed and covered by warranty. Our technicians are professional, auto glass trained, and have over 100 years of combined experience. Advanced Auto Glass by Joey utilizes in-house calibrations for vehicle safety systems. Most insurances are accepted, and reliable mobile service is available in surrounding areas. Keep cars cool and secure with custom tinting, side mirror replacement, and AquaPal windshield wipers. There's one clear choice in auto glass repair. Advanced Auto Glass by Joey.
Hi folks, Paul Brown with Dixie Buildings. We're here to take care of all your building needs for your personal and your business needs. That includes portable buildings, carports, sheds. Don't forget your hunting camps are coming in. You can start out with our 8x10s. If we cannot haul it, we can build it for you on site. We have 2 locations, one on Highway 19 South and our home office just around the corner on Long Creek Road. Just give us a call at 601-483-4943.
Welcome back. Your friend Scotty Ray, along with Greg's here this morning with us helping out.
Oh, yeah.
We had an accident yesterday afternoon. I thought we'd show this because you just don't know. I'm going to have to eat more Wheaties because, boy, I sure felt for the volunteer fire department and Metro Ambulance. They work their little heinies off. You just don't realize when a wreck happens and, Greg, it's down a slope like this.
Oh, yeah. Slick.
And they had to carry 2 people up. So I want you to invent a winch that hooks to the back of something where you can pull somebody up. Because let me tell you, everybody was bowed up trying to get the people up to the ambulance yesterday afternoon. They're going to be okay, but let me just show you this of how this looked. Here we go. This is the car off in the ditch way down below. And then I'll spin around. Look what this done to this. End over end is how this happened.
Shortened it up, didn't it?
It did. It hadn't got a trunk anymore.
No.
At all.
Oh, that's horrible.
And if look at that steep grade there, highway patrol there.
Oh.
And that just shows you what folks have to go through that respond to these emergencies. Total loss here with the car. And again, they're going to be okay, but let me tell you, it banged them up pretty hard there, and they didn't want to move, and so they had to be carried out on one of those platforms.
Looking at that picture, I just want to remind people. Let somebody know where you're at.
Yeah.
At all times. They ain't being nosy. I don't care if it's your kids, if it's your mama. Let somebody know where you're at and where you're supposed to be, a check-in point. Because you think, 2 o'clock in the morning, if that car to run another 100 feet out in the wood, nobody'd have seen it. And this happens every year.
And, one of the things that was going on there, one of the guys that was in the car was going, help me find my phone because I don't know my wife's phone number, and that's my only way to reach her. And when that car goes over and over and everything in it goes everywhere, and I don't know if the phone was ever found. So something to keep in mind there as you travel about with things that happen each and every day. This was what I would call, I couldn't even find a scratch when it came out as a wreck with possible injuries. I went and inspected. And I pulled over and just took a snapshot because the fire department was coming. And I wanted to show the fire department, this is minor. That's going into academy sports.
Okay. By where Crystal used to be.
That's minor beyond minor accident. I didn't see anybody hurt on that. Not so much in Brandon. We had a pretty serious wreck there in Brandon yesterday. We had this sent in to us yesterday as we pull this up as we go here to show. Pretty major one there. And again, that's one of those intersections, as you can see over the cab of that 18-wheeler, where probably someone pulled out in front of someone. Mm-hmm. It happens every day on these 4 lanes of somebody trying to get across.
A lot of times they'll pull out and go the wrong way.
Yeah. Wayne County, let me bring this up because we had several pictures of several homes that were destroyed in the tornado. That happened down there. This is what we got at. This was a 150-mile-an-hour tornado that came through Wayne County the other night. And as you'll remember there at the bitter end, this is when this tornado warning was issued here, when we were about to wrap everything up, and it cut across here and was headed toward Clark County, and it quit right before it got to Clark. Still damaged a lot of homes, threw trees down. No loss of life is what we're glad to report on that. Let's see what else we've got as we come across. I went to Meridian yesterday. This is also one of those important things to learn. They had a class for business owners.
That's right.
In case you're there and somebody comes in and has a spell and you need to do CPR. They taught this at Meridian Town Hall yesterday. Business owners were there. Metro ambulance came out to help with this.
Looked like Honest John.
He was. He didn't have a boat, though.
And then Miss Ann.
And they were teaching how you do this.
The compressions and the breaths. And
yeah. So, and I think they're going to be doing another class next month. They'll do another round of this if you're interested.
Doesn't that last a year? Then you have to get recertified, isn't that right? Or is it 2 years?
I think it's 2 years. Mine's out. And I probably should have stayed to get mine renewed. Mine has run out.
Like you going to stay somewhere 3 or 4 hours?
That was the problem that I had.
That's kind of what I figured.
Our special guest this morning, of course, David McRae, is the treasurer of the state of Mississippi. We have really enjoyed having you here. We left any stone unturned.
I don't think so. I mean, I think unclaimed money and college savings are two of the big things in my department. I mean, we handle all the investments of the state, but, those are things that we're very successful with those things, and we are seeing the state. We've made $375 million for the state of Mississippi last year in investment interest return, and of course, we could do a whole show on that. I mean, it would be. I find it fascinating and fun, but really, I think most people really love our unclaimed money department and our college savings department because it is changing lives. Whether it's getting money back into your pocket, helping young men and women go to school so they can have a productive life and stay here in Mississippi, and those are things my department is very, very excited to do on a daily basis. I mean, that's what they wake up and do, and I gave them this charge when I took office, and they have exceeded beyond my wildest expectations.
Let's ask something, Greg. Let's get to the bottom of this. We heard that you still at Christmas take those McRae's golden things that used to go on the front and seal your Christmas cards with them.
I wish I still had some of those. I do. I
can remember seeing those for years. McRae's, you go right in the middle of the bow, the little gold stickers.
I know. That gift wrapping department in my area was North Park. And at Metro Center for a while, and then North Park, and then, of course, Meadowbrook down in Jackson as well. But here it was the Meridian store, which last time I was here, I told you all this, and I'll tell it again. It was one of the most successful stores we had in our portfolio. I mean, it was beyond successful and helped us really expand into what we eventually became. And it was the first store we had outside of Jackson that we built all on our own. We had inherited a store in Vicksburg from a company called Kennington's. But Meridian was the first store my father and grandfather designed, built, and did. And it was just insanely, wildly successful. I can't even, emphasize that enough. But the gift wrapping department, my dad, one time someone asked, what do you miss about the store? And he misses everything. He misses the people and everything, but he missed the gift wrapping department. So he could take all my mom's and our gifts and have them wrap them.
So
which was free gift wrapping. I mean, we always had that was a big thing my grandfather always had from when we had the little store down on Capitol Street by the Amtrak station. Was his big emphasis was free gift wrapping. I mean,
customer service.
That is exactly what it is, and I have taken that to the Treasury. I mean, that is what we do. If you take one thing away from me today, you have noticed that I've tried to make it easier for everybody. I've tried to do everything online. We try to be as much customer-friendly, customer service as we can possibly be, and I hope that's a breath of fresh air for everybody that deals with state government.
Amen.
Well, we can't thank you enough for coming in and spending some time with us this morning. You're headed off to MCC next. You will tour the campus there. If you've got some kids on campus, make sure they come up to you and shake your hand and get to know you there.
Oh, good. I'll be there. I'm looking forward to seeing it and seeing the programs. I'm trying to tour all the community colleges in the state and just seeing everything they do so I can pitch these programs that they do and we talked about earlier. And, of course, college savings and career savings. It's just an extremely important tool to have in the toolbox.
All right. Of course, State Treasurer David McRae in with us this morning. Greg, we've had a pretty good time.
Had a good day. Good morning anyway. It's been going on since about midnight, I think.
A little bit before that.
If you're out and about today, have a Coke and a smile. Have a good day.
Yeah.
This time of the year, I keep them in the back floorboard of my truck. That way I don't even have to have them on ice. So, I figure 18 degrees, there'll be a few slivers in my Diet Coke.
It will be. Again, we want to say thank you for letting us into your homes and hearts each and every day. Thank y'all so much. We'll be back tomorrow morning. We'll have another show coming up. And don't forget, the good Lord loves you, and so do we. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning here at the Scotty Ray Report.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners.